Make this the 144th hearing, if it doesn't collapse into chaos like so many before it. My name is Orban Trell, Senior Diplomatic Advisor to the Galactic Council's Expansion Committee. My people, the Ardaxians, are famed for their unflinching logic and pragmatic outlook on galactic affairs. We stood among the Council's original architects back when only 12 species had cracked faster-than-light travel. Today, that number has swelled to 143. Let me share something about the universe. It is vast, indifferent, and mercilessly cold. I've served as a diplomat for over 3 centuries, and if there's a single lesson I've learned, it's this. Sentiment has no place in interstellar politics. Ambassador Trell. Grand Counselor Vex Doran's voice reverberated across the massive circular chamber. Your assessment of the human petition? Thousands of eyes, some organic, some mechanical, some nothing but sensory pits or bioelectric arrays, turned toward me. The chamber pulsed with quiet anticipation as I rose, smoothing the folds of my ceremonial robes. Grand Counselor. Esteemed representatives of the Council, I began, my voice carrying clearly across the hall. After thorough review, I recommend denial of the human petition. A ripple of murmurs rolled through the chamber, less surprise than satisfaction. From the observation gallery, I saw the small human delegation shift uncomfortably. 3 of them only, where most species arrived in force. Their leader was a dark-skinned woman named Alana Reeves, her expression hard with resolve. Beside her sat Marcus Patel, pale with a neatly kept beard, and Dana Takahashi, a smaller red-haired woman whose watchful eyes missed nothing. Yes, the human species has achieved faster-than-light travel, I continued, but their drive system is crude, inefficient. Their society remains fractured into competing nation-states. Their technology, a patchwork, salvaged from debris left by a crashed Centurion scout craft. By every measurable standard, they are not ready for council membership. The Grand Counselor's tentacles stirred impatiently. Elaborate, Ambassador. Before I could, Alana Reeves stood. Permission to address the council, she said. Her voice firm despite the weight of 10,000 representatives staring down at her. Granted, the counselor replied, amusement flickering across his upper ridges. Though it is highly irregular. Thank you, Grand Counselor. Alana's tone was steady, her posture unbowed. Earth is still developing, yes. Still learning, but we believe we have much to offer the galactic community. I studied her face carefully. Most species, confronted with such open dismissal, would have responded with outrage. Humans were known for their thin skin, literally and figuratively. Yet Alana only smiled, and it was not a pleasant smile. We offer perspective, she said. Innovation, creativity, qualities the Council seems to have forgotten over the millennia. A harsh, hooting laugh came from Ambassador Cruel of the Tarkasian hegemony. What could your kind possibly offer us? Your computers are archaic, your medicine primitive, your weapons barely past the nuclear stage. You are children pretending at adulthood. The Grand Counselor's voice dipped into a dangerous register. Are you implying, human, that the combined wisdom of 143 civilizations is lacking? Takahashi placed a warning hand on Alana's arm, but the human ignored it. With respect, Grand Counselor, your own records show that Council technological progress has slowed dramatically over the last 3,000 years, Alana said. Every species admitted conforms to Council norms. Innovation stagnates, gasps erupted around the chamber. My facial ridges flushed purple with embarrassment. This was why humans weren't ready. They had no sense of diplomacy. The human accessed restricted archives. Hissed a representative from the Ophidian Concordance. Not at all, Marcus Patel said calmly. We analyzed publicly available trade data and patent registrations. Simple pattern recognition. I noticed several council members shift uneasily. This was unprecedented. Most petitioners begged for membership. The humans were challenging us. Ambassador Trell, the Grand Counselor said coldly, continue your assessment. I cleared my throat. As stated, humans have achieved faster-than-light travel. But their hawking drive consumes nearly 3 times the energy of standard Council warp systems. That's not entirely accurate, Alana interrupted. My patience thinned. Human, the technical specifications of your drive were examined by our engineers. Our engineers examined your first-generation prototype, Dana Takahashi cut in smoothly. The one we deliberately showed you. Our current implementation is quite different. The Grand Counselor's eyes narrowed. Explain, Marcus Patel stepped forward. When your exploration vessel contacted us 16 Earth months ago, we immediately understood that the Council would assess our technology. We decided it was strategic to appear less advanced than we truly are. You're claiming your technology is more advanced than reported? I asked, genuinely intrigued now. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the chamber. No species under petition had ever downplayed its capabilities, until now. The Grand Counselor's gavel slammed down, silencing the uproar. This hearing is taking an unusual turn. Ambassador Trell, your assessment? Alana answered before I could. In some areas, yes, we are ahead. In others, we freely admit we lag behind. Our point is that technological uniformity is not the only measure of readiness for galactic citizenship. All eyes turned back to me. In 3 centuries of service, I had never encountered a species quite like the humans. I suggest we adjourn and verify these claims before proceeding, I said at last. If what they say is true, it warrants investigation. Objection. Ambassador Gra of the Plutonian Directorate barked. The humans have confessed to deliberate deception. That alone should disqualify them. Alana stepped forward. With respect, Ambassador, hasn't every species here engaged in strategic disclosure during first contact? We did what any prudent civilization would do when meeting a vastly more powerful entity. The Grand Counselor's tentacles writhed thoughtfully. Very well. Ambassador Trell, you will lead a delegation to Earth to assess these claims. We reconvene in 1 standard cycle, murmuring broke out again. She wasn't wrong, and everyone knew it. Nearly every first contact scenario involved tightly managed information. I recommend a direct verification mission to Earth, I said formally. Let us see their technology for ourselves. This is a waste of time, Ambassador Cruel grumbled as we entered the Terran system weeks later. Look at their primitive satellite network. They've barely touched their neighboring planets, and so I found myself aboard a Council diplomatic vessel headed for a backwater world called Earth, with technical specialists from 5 member species in tow, including, unfortunately, the particularly unpleasant Tarkasian. Even by the Council's standards, the human presence in their own solar system was negligible, just a handful of research stations on the Moon and Mars, a few automated mining platforms scattered through the asteroid belt. Hardly impressive. Captain, I called to the Zentharian pilot, scan the orbital station at coordinates 34x67. We were closing on Earth when something caught my attention. Our sensors were flagging energy signatures we didn't recognize, patterns that didn't match the human technology profile we had on file. Already scanned, Ambassador, the pilot replied. The readings are anomalous. Power output exceeds expected parameters by roughly 300%. Ambassador Kroll gave a sharp, derisive snort. They must have acquired black market tech from four-lion traders. Humans don't innovate at this scale. Let's not leap to conclusions, I warned. We're here to verify their claims, not condemn them. Our ship eased into dock at the humans' primary orbital facility, an unimaginatively named International Space Station Alpha. Waiting on the deck were the same 3 human representatives, who had stood before the Council weeks before. Welcome. To Earth space, Alana Reeves said, extending her hand in the peculiar human greeting. Her smile was polite but tight, her eyes unreadable. We've prepared a full tour of our facilities. Where would you like to begin? I pressed my palm briefly to hers, acknowledging the ritual. Thank you for hosting the verification mission. The Council takes your petition seriously. Before I could speak further, Ambassador Kroll elbowed forward. Your propulsion technology. You claimed your hawking drive is more efficient than you initially revealed. Prove it. Marcus Patel only smiled. Straight to business. I can appreciate that. Please follow me. We've prepared a demonstration. We trailed the humans through a network of pristine corridors to a control center with a wide viewport. Beyond it, a sleek vessel floated about a kilometer away. Marcus gestured to a shimmering holographic display. What you're seeing here is real-time telemetry, he said. This is the Artemis, Equipped with our modified Hawking-Kresnikov drive, it creates a localized distortion in space-time. That's the Artemis, Dana Takahashi added. Our testbed for the latest drive system. Kroll interrupted with his usual impatience. We understand warp propulsion. Nothing you're saying is new. That was the conventional thinking. Dana replied evenly. Until we discovered this. One of our Zenth-Therian physicists shook his frilled head. Impossible. The power requirements alone would be exponential, Marcus continued smoothly. Our implementation differs in one key respect. We don't merely warp space ahead and unwind it behind. We generate cascading micro-warps. He activated another display showing molecular schematics I didn't recognize. I leaned in, intrigued despite myself. If true, this was genuinely groundbreaking. The Council's own warp systems hadn't seen a significant breakthrough in 8 centuries. We call it quantum resonance material, QRM, Marcus explained. It amplifies specific quantum effects, enabling us to sustain warp bubbles with roughly 70% less energy than conventional methods. Demonstrate, Kroll demanded flatly. Alana nodded to a technician. Initiate test sequence alpha. Through the viewport, the Artemis began to glow faintly. Then, without the usual shimmering distortion that marked Council drives, it simply vanished. Any ship can appear to vanish, Kroll scoffed. This proves nothing. Where did it go? Jupiter and back, Alana replied, as though discussing a routine commute. Round trip 7 minutes. The Artemis is transmitting its position continuously, Marcus added, pointing at a tracking grid. You're welcome to verify it with your own instruments. Our Zenth-Therian physicist was already doing so, his portable scanner flickering with data. The color drained from his frills. The human vessel is indeed near Jupiter. And moving at... This can't be right. What is it? I asked. These readings show it traveling at 2.7 times the speed of our fastest ships. A stunned silence settled over our delegation. This was not only unexpected, it was deeply unsettling. How? Kroll finally demanded, his voice low and sharp. How has a species barely 2 centuries into its industrial age produced propulsion technology that surpasses designs refined over millennia? Alana's expression remained carefully neutral. We're happy to continue the tour. Perhaps you'd like to see our medical facilities next. Her tone was diplomatic, but I caught a flicker of quiet satisfaction. As we told the Council, she said, humans offer perspective, innovation, creativity. This is one technology, I interjected, striving to remain impartial. The Council evaluates species across a broad range of advancements. Their medical bay proved equally surprising. Some procedures were primitive by our standards, yet their breakthroughs in genetic therapy and neural regeneration were extraordinary. You've solved neural degradation? Asked our Florian medical specialist, his mandibles clicking with excitement. Not solved, their chief medical officer corrected. But we've developed treatments with an 83% success rate at restoring function to damaged neural pathways. He held up a device no larger than my smallest finger. This neural interface allows direct communication between injured nervous systems and our bioengineered support. Cells, even Kroll looked impressed, though he tried to conceal it. That's because we don't advance as a unified species, Ambassador Trell, Alana said as we moved to their conference chamber. Earth has nearly 200 nation-states, thousands of corporations, millions of independent researchers. We compete, we argue, we take different approaches to the same problems. I don't understand, I admitted, lowering myself into a seat. Your development is uneven, inefficient, Kroll muttered. I considered this. Most council species evolved under unified planetary governments where research was tightly coordinated. The idea of thousands of competing entities working on the same problems from countless angles was alien to us. Perhaps, Marcus acknowledged, but it also means we're never locked into one way of thinking. When one approach fails, a dozen others are waiting in the wings. It was becoming clear to me that the humans' seemingly chaotic development was no accident. Their innovation looked almost engineered, not engineered, Dana said with a short laugh. Evolved. Competition, cooperation, and balance shaped our species, and now they shape our inventions. As our delegation prepared to return to the ship for the night, I caught Alana aside. "One question still puzzles me," I said quietly. "If your technology is as advanced as you've shown, why petition to join the Council at all? Most civilizations at your level choose independence." Her expression hardened. "Because we've seen what's coming, Ambassador Trell. We've intercepted signals from the Outer Rim, the same kind of signals that preceded the Vorax incursion into Sector 7. My blood went cold. The Vorax were not discussed openly, a predatory species from beyond. Council space that had annihilated 3 member worlds before being driven back 70 cycles ago. How could you possibly know about the Vorax? I whispered. "We've been listening to the stars for centuries," she replied evenly. "Your council may control official communication channels, but the universe is chatty if you know how to listen. The Vorax aren't gone, Ambassador. They're gathering strength. Our calculations show they'll return within 5 standard years." I stared at her, stunned. "Then why has military spending across Council worlds dropped nearly 50% over the last 50 cycles? Why were defense platforms decommissioned in Sectors 8 through 12? Alana's eyes never wavered. "Tomorrow we'll show you our defense technology. I think you'll find it enlightening. That night aboard our ship, I couldn't sleep." Her words about the Vorax gnawed at me. I accessed the secure Council database, searching for recent reports. Nothing. The last official mention was 40 cycles old, declaring the threat neutralized. But when I cross-referenced deep space monitoring data, the picture changed. Unexplained energy signatures. Subspace disturbances consistent with massive fleet movements from the same region the Vorax had once emerged. The humans were right. "I'm keeping an open mind," I told myself. "I suggest the Council does the same." By morning, our delegation returned to the station with a new edge of urgency. At least I felt it. Kroll and the others remained skeptical. "Now they'll show us some primitive weapons and expect us to be impressed," Kroll muttered as we followed our human guides into a secure section of the station. "What you're about to see is classified at the highest level," Alana said. "Only 30 humans know of its existence." We entered a circular chamber dominated by a holographic projection of their solar system. "Dramatic," Kroll said dryly. Alana ignored him. "Dana, please activate the Guardian network." The hologram shifted. Thousands of tiny points of light flared into view across the system. "What are we looking at?" I asked. "Our defense grid," Marcus explained. 5,000 autonomous platforms hidden in asteroids, moons, and orbital patterns that conceal them from standard scans. The Zentharian security expert in our group frowned. "We detected no such platforms when we entered your system." "That's the point of a hidden defense network," Dana said with a faint smile. "The platforms remain dormant until activated, shielded with the same QRM technology that powers our drives. Each carries what we call a gravitational inversion projector. It creates a localized inversion of gravity within a defined sphere." Kroll's skepticism faltered. "What weapons do these platforms carry?" Marcus hesitated, glancing at Alana. She nodded once. My facial ridges paled. "You're describing a weapon that could tear a ship apart at the molecular level." "Yes," Alana said simply. "When we recovered the crashed Centurion scout ship 80 years ago, we didn't just study its propulsion system. We studied everything." The chamber fell silent. "Such weapons were banned under Council law. Even theoretical research was forbidden. You realize," I said carefully, "that the mere existence of these weapons could push many Council species to vote against your admission." "We do," Alana replied. "And yet, we're showing them to you anyway. Do you know why?" Her gaze was unwavering. "The Vorax ships use a unique hull composition that makes them especially vulnerable to gravitational weapons. We didn't develop this technology to threaten the Council, Ambassador Trell. We built it because we know what's coming." Marcus added quietly, "Earth doesn't want to face the Vorax alone. But we also won't surrender our ability to defend ourselves just to join your club." Kroll's demeanor had completely changed. "If what you say about the Vorax is true, and if your weapons are as effective as you claim, the Council must be informed immediately." "We should return to the Council," I announced. "Our report will be complicated." As I considered all we had seen, I realized the truth. The humans were dangerously advanced in some fields, worryingly primitive in others. They were divided, competitive, unpredictable, and evolution had molded them to think differently than council species. They had built weapons of terrifying power. But they had also identified a threat the council had ignored. While member worlds grew complacent, the humans prepared. "Will you tell them everything?" Alana asked softly. "I'll tell them what they need to hear," I replied. "That humanity is—" The humans were not what we expected. They offered more than we had anticipated, and it was dawning on me that perhaps the galaxy needed them far more than they needed us. I looked at Alana, truly looked at her, trying to understand this strange, fast-evolving species. As our ship prepared to depart Earth the next day, I stood at the viewport, watching the blue-green planet shrink against the void. Such an unassuming world to produce such a perplexing people. "What will you recommend to the Council?" Grow asked quietly as he joined me. "I thought you were firmly against their admission," I replied, surprised. "I was," he admitted, "until I saw their weapons. If the Vorax really are returning—" He left the sentence unfinished. "Indeed," I murmured. "My recommendation will be conditional admission. The humans maintain their defense network, share their drive technology, and the Council publicly acknowledges the Vorax threat. The Grand Counselor won't like it," Kroll warned. "It breaks too many established protocols." "You sound like a human," he said, not unkindly. I turned back to the viewport, watching Earth fade into the black. Then perhaps it's time protocols changed. "The universe doesn't care about our traditions, Ambassador Kroll. It rewards adaptation." I smiled faintly. Perhaps that's not such a bad thing, but I never expected what awaited us on our return to Council space. Not in 300 cycles of diplomatic service could I have predicted it. As our ship jumped to FTL toward Fetiel, a question haunted me. Would the Council listen? Would they understand what we had discovered about the humans and about ourselves? The Galactic Council had mocked Earth's plea for admission, but something told me they would not be mocking much longer. The humans had stood up, and in doing so, they might just save us all. Our ship dropped out of FTL at the edge of Council territory. Instantly, our communication panels lit up with urgent messages, hundreds of them. "What in the name of the 7 moons?" CL muttered, scanning his console. I opened the highest priority message. "Catastrophic emergency. My direct superior in the diplomatic corps." I turned to Kroll, whose facial ridges had paled as he read his own alerts. "It's the Vorax," I said. "They've returned." From the bridge, the captain called, "Ambassador Trell, we're receiving distress signals from multiple Council worlds." As I read, my blood turned to ice. Impossible. The report said the attacks began 3 days ago, a massive fleet, hundreds of ships. 3 days. While we were examining human technology and debating their admission, the greatest threat to galactic civilization had launched its invasion. "Captain," I barked, "set course for Council headquarters. Maximum speed. Belay that!" Kroll snapped. "Message from Central Command says headquarters has been evacuated. The Council has relocated to the emergency facility on Proxima Station." "Wait." I scrolled further. "The emergency facility has been compromised as well. The Council is scattered." The captain looked between us, torn by conflicting orders. "Where is the Grand Counselor?" Kroll demanded. "Unknown. Last communication 12 hours ago from the Ardaxian battlecruiser Relentless. We need to regroup with whatever Council forces remain," Kroll decided. "Captain, set course for the Ardaxian fleet's last known position." "Earth?" he added, staring at me as if I'd grown a second head. "What possible good would that do? They're not even Council members." I shook my head. "No. We return to Earth. They have weapons specifically designed to combat Vorax ships, and they predicted this attack. They may be our only hope." "You're suggesting we put the fate of the Council in the hands of primitives?" Kroll scoffed. I met his gaze steadily. "I'm suggesting we put aside our pride and seek help from a species that might actually provide it." The journey back to Earth took 9 hours. 9 hours of incoming reports. Council worlds burning. Defense fleets scattered. Communications shattered. This was not a mere incursion like 70 cycles ago. This was a full-scale invasion. For a long time, Kroll said nothing. Then he exhaled heavily. "Captain, Set course for Earth. Maximum speed. When we dropped out of FTL near the Sol system, I half expected to find Earth already under attack. Instead, we found something even more surprising. Captain, the sensor officer reported, multiple energy signatures detected throughout the system. They match the dormant defense platforms the humans showed us, but they're active now. Incoming transmission. From Earth Orbital Station, the communications officer announced. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing Alana Reeves. She looked exhausted but determined. Ambassador Trell, Ambassador Kroll, she said, you've returned sooner than expected. The Vorax have attacked Council space, I said, without preamble. Multiple worlds have fallen. The Council itself is scattered. If Alana was surprised, she didn't show it. We know. We detected Vorax fleet movements 3 days ago. We've been preparing. How could you possibly know? Kroll demanded. The same way we knew they were coming in the first place, she replied calmly. We listen, we watch. We pay attention to things the Council dismissed as unimportant. We've come to request Earth's assistance, I said formally. The weapons you demonstrated may be effective against Vorax ships. Her expression softened slightly. Dock at Station Alpha. We need to talk face to face. 30 minutes later, we sat in the same conference room where only days ago we'd debated the worthiness of humans to join the Galactic Council. Now we were practically begging for their help. The Vorax have launched coordinated attacks on 17 Council worlds, Marcus Patel explained, projecting a holographic map of Council space. They've specifically targeted communication hubs and fleet staging areas. Under normal circumstances, such intelligence operations would have infuriated me. Now I was simply grateful someone had been watching. The Vorax fleet consists of approximately 700 capital ships and 2,000 support vessels, Dana continued. They're moving in 3. The main battle groups were already moving toward the targeted sectors. Donata Takahashi allowed herself a thin smile. We've had probes in Council space for decades, she said. Small, stealthy, equipped with QRM technology to avoid detection. Alana leaned forward. Based on their movement patterns, we believe the Vorax intend nothing less than the complete destruction of the Council and the colonization of your territories. I studied the tactical display with growing unease. They're targeting the core worlds. Can your weapons stop them? Our gravitational inversion projectors are effective against Vorax ships, Marcus replied. But we only have 5,000 platforms, and they're all stationed within this solar system. They weren't designed for faster-than-light travel, Dana explained. They're defensive installations, not mobile platforms. Krill perked up. How quickly could they be moved? Not moved, Alana corrected, her eyes sharp. But we can build more and mount them on ships. My heart sank. Then you can protect Earth, but not the Council. Marcus nodded grimly. Exactly. It normally takes months to produce enough projectors to matter, and we don't have months. The Vorax will reach the Ardaxian homeworld in less than 7 days, I said. Alana exchanged a meaningful glance with her colleagues. There may be a way to accelerate production, but we'd need resources the Council controls, resources Earth doesn't have. Name them, Krill demanded. Quantum resonance crystals from the Battlejuice mining colony. Manufacturing facilities on Proxima Centauri III. Technical specialists from at least 5 Council races. Krill gave a sharp, barking laugh. With what fleet? The Council forces are scattered across 20 sectors. Then we will have to take Battlejuice back, Alana said calmly, as though suggesting nothing more complicated than an afternoon walk. We all turned toward the doorway, where a man I hadn't seen before stepped forward. He was older, with streaks of gray in his hair and a uniform heavy with insignia. Earth has no significant space fleet, I said, confused. Your orbital presence is minimal. Admiral Tobias Jackson, Earth Defense Force, he introduced himself. His voice was calm but carried authority. And I believe the ambassador asked about our fleet. 75 warships, not as large as your Council vessels, perhaps, but each equipped with modified Hawking-Kresnikov drives and prototype gravitational inversion projectors. Admiral Jackson smiled faintly. That's what we wanted you to think. He pressed a control on the table. The holographic display of Earth's solar system shifted, revealing dozens of new signatures hidden in the shadows of planets, moons, and asteroids. I stared in disbelief. You hid an entire fleet from Council sensors. URM technology has many applications, Dana said with pride. Masking energy signatures is one of them. Why keep this secret? Krill demanded. If you sought Council membership, why hide your military power? Alana's gaze didn't waver. Because we knew how you would react. You'd see us as a threat, not an ally. We needed you to understand our innovation, our perspective, before revealing our strength. Krill muttered, So you have ships. But 75 vessels against a Vorax fleet of thousands is suicide. Not if we are smart about it, Admiral Jackson countered. We don't need to annihilate their armada. We only need to disrupt their command structure, drive them back long enough to mass-produce our weapons. I'll contact whatever Council representatives I can reach, I said. Request that all available resources be diverted to this effort. I'll do the same through military channels, Krill added, surprising me with his quick support. Alana rose to her feet. Then we have work to do. The next 48 hours blurred into relentless activity. Earth's orbital stations transformed into command centers for what might be the most unlikely alliance in galactic history. Council representatives from 17 species arrived in whatever ships they could find. Human engineers worked shoulder to shoulder with alien technicians, adapting gravitational inversion projectors to fit dozens of different designs. This is chaos. Krill muttered beside me during one especially heated argument between a human tactical officer and an Ardaxian fleet commander. Perhaps, I replied, watching as the shouting suddenly collapsed into agreement, both parties satisfied with the outcome. But there's a pattern. They argue to find the best solution, not to establish dominance. Inefficient, Krill scoffed, echoing his earlier judgments of human culture. I gestured toward the engineers across the room, already finalizing weapon modifications. Is it? They've done in 2 days what the Council would have taken months to approve. On the 3rd day, our makeshift fleet stood ready, 137 ships, 75 human warships, 62 Council vessels. Pitiful when compared to the vast Vorax armada, but equipped with weapons the enemy had never seen. The plan was audacious. The main fleet would engage the Vorax at Badosha, attempting to retake the Battlejuice colony. Meanwhile, a smaller strike force would infiltrate the Vorax command vessel to disrupt their communications network. When Admiral Jackson informed me I'd been assigned to the strike team, I protested. I'm a diplomat, not a soldier. Exactly, he replied without hesitation. If we succeed, someone will need to negotiate with whatever Vorax leadership remains. You understand Council protocols, and you have the authority to speak for multiple species. Later, as I prepared to board the shuttle, I sought out Alana Reeves. She was checking her gear, pausing only when she noticed me approach. This plan, I asked quietly. What are our actual chances of success? She met my gaze steadily. Honestly, about 20%. Encouraging, I murmured. Alana's voice was steady, though her expression had hardened. If we fail, Ambassador, remember this. No plan ever comes with good odds. Only better odds than the alternative. And the alternative is extinction. Her jaw tightened. If the Council falters, then Earth stands alone against the Vorax. We've already begun evacuating civilians into bunkers beneath the surface. But make no mistake, we will fight to the last human. I glanced at her in disbelief. You could flee. Your ships are faster than theirs. Talana shook her head. That's not who we are, Ambassador Trell. Humans don't abandon our home, and we don't abandon our allies, even the newest ones. Before I could reply, the alert klaxon blared. The Vorax had established a massive perimeter around the Battlejuice colony, nearly 200 ships guarding the resource-rich world. Our main fleet would meet them head-on, drawing their attention. While our strike team slipped into the chaos to target their command vessel, the fleet departed Earth in staggered stages, QRM technology cloaking our approach until the final moment. 14 hours of silence followed. 14 hours of sharpening weapons, checking systems, and stealing nerves, dropping out of FTL in 3, 2, 1. The view screen bloomed with starlight. The Battlejuice system appeared before us, and with it, the Vorax Armada. I had seen their warships 70 cycles ago, during their first incursion. They were worse now. Immense, grotesque silhouettes bristling with jagged protrusions, their hulls absorbing light until they seemed carved from the void itself. The human fleet struck first. With modified Hawking-Kresnikov drives, their ships blinked in and out of existence across the battlefield, darting unpredictably. The Vorax responded with brute force, massive cannons powering up with lethal intensity. "All ships, engage as planned," Admiral Jackson's voice commanded. The battle erupted. Fire and gravity tore the void apart. "Strike team, stand by for your opening." Our small stealth vessel slipped forward, navigating the storm. On the tactical display, the first gravitational inversion projectors ignited. The effect was monstrous. Vorax ships folded inward on themselves, their alien hulls snapping like brittle shells under the crushing distortions. In seconds, Leviathans became nothing but clouds of debris. "It's working," Krill whispered, awe softening his usually gruff tone. We threaded through the wreckage, homing in on the Vorax command ship, a colossal Leviathan-class vessel, dwarfing everything else in their fleet. The Vorax, unprepared for weapons that could crack their once impervious defenses, faltered. Their formations buckled. For the first time in my memory, the Vorax were on the back foot. "Strike team, you have your window," Jackson ordered. "Good hunting," our pilot pushed forward. "Docking point in sight. No indication they've detected us yet." My hands brushed the unfamiliar weight of the sidearm at my hip. In 3 centuries of diplomacy, I had never carried a weapon. Now it felt like a stone dragging at my belt. "Remember," Alana told us, her voice steady as steel, "our objective is the communications hub. We plant the disruptor and withdraw. No heroics. No improvisation. The disruptor, a human-engineered device, was designed to lace the Vorax fleet network with a virus, crippling their coordination. Without it, their vast numbers would devolve into chaos. Docking complete. Breach team, move in." 7 operators, 4 humans, 3 Xanthurians advanced into the airlock with cutting tools. 10 long minutes crawled past before the comm clicked. "Breach successful. No resistance. Strike team, move." Alana glanced at me. "Ready, Ambassador?" I wasn't, but I nodded. We entered the Vorax vessel. The corridors were organic, like the inside of some great beast, walls pulsating with dim bioluminescence. Our suits filtered the toxic atmosphere, every breath echoing too loudly in my ears. "Life signs ahead," one of the Xanthurians warned. 3 Vorax moving away, we pressed deeper. The map, pieced together from centuries-old intelligence, guided us toward the heart of the ship. Twice we skirted patrols, holding our breath as towering Vorax warriors thundered past. Then the alarm screamed. The ship had discovered us. "Move!" Alana snapped. We raced toward the hub and found it crawling with Vorax. At least a dozen of the insectoid creatures scuttled between stations, their clicks and hisses sharp with agitation. "We'll never get in undetected," Krill muttered. "We don't need to," Alana replied. She signaled a human operator. "Plan B," he pulled a larger device from his pack. "What is that?" I asked. "A remote insertion tool," Alana explained. "It can broadcast the virus from here, but once it's detected, they'll purge it fast. Minutes instead of hours. Will that be enough?" Her visor reflected the glow of the device. "It will have to be." The hum of activation filled our helmets. 78 seconds to full penetration, the operator reported. We retreated into the shadows, watching through a viewport. Vorax displays flickered, operators chittering in mounting panic. Penetration complete. "Virus deployed. Scatter!" the team leader barked. We turned, only to find 3 Vorax warriors blocking the way. Nearly 3 meters tall, bristling with natural weapons, they filled the corridor like demons from a nightmare. Gunfire thundered. Alien shrieks echoed. The special forces clashed with the monsters while Alana grabbed my arm and dragged me down a side passage. "Alternative route," she hissed. We ran through the labyrinthine ship, alarms wailing around us. Twice we dove into alcoves as patrols stormed past. "The virus is spreading," Alana said, glancing at her wrist display. Fleet communications are breaking down across every channel. Will the others make it out? I asked, breath ragged. If they follow protocol, yes. Each has an alternate escape route. She checked her device again and allowed herself a grim smile. The Vorax command structure is collapsing. Their fleet formation was crumbling, and our forces were driving straight through the gaps. What's happening? I demanded as we sprinted into an auxiliary docking bay, alarms blaring in a different, harsher tone than before. We've achieved Phase 1, Alana corrected firmly. But we're not safe yet. We need to get off this ship. Before I could respond, a violent tremor shook the vessel, hurling us both against the wall. What was that? I asked. Our fleet is targeting this Leviathan, she answered. If we stay, we die. The docking bay housed several Vorax shuttles. Juana moved quickly to one of them, attaching a small device to its hull. I frowned. Can you even fly that? She shook her head. I don't need to. I just need its comm system. The device blinked red, then locked to green. What did you do? I pressed, sent our coordinates to the extraction team. They'll find us. Before I could breathe relief, the bay doors exploded inward. For an instant, I feared Vorax reinforcements, but instead, human tactical teams poured through the breach, weapons sweeping the chamber. Ambassador Reeves! Ambassador Trell! One of them called. This way! We followed at once, boarding their sleek breaching craft attached to the Vorax hull. Other survivors were being pulled aboard nearby, and to my immense relief, Ambassador Kroll was among them. Did everyone make it? Alana asked the squad leader. His grim look said enough. We lost 4, 2 humans, 1 Xantheran, 1 Florian. She closed her eyes briefly, then ordered, detach and retreat. Get us to safe distance. The command ship is priority target. As our vessel disengaged, I watched on the tactical display. The human fleet unleashed their gravitational inversion projectors, tearing into critical stress points of the Vorax Leviathan. In moments, the massive warship didn't simply break apart, it collapsed inward, folding under its own distortions in a terrifying implosion. Deprived of leadership and comms, the Vorax fleet fractured. Some ships fled, others fought blindly. The chaos was total. What had begun as a desperate gamble was becoming a systematic eradication. All ships, execute Phase 3, Admiral Jackson's voice commanded over the comms. Target Vorax vessels by size priority. Return to Earth? Our pilot asked. Alana shook her head. No, Proxima Centauri III. We need those facilities operational immediately. The mining crews will dispatch the first shipment of resonance crystals within hours. I realized then the truth. Humanity had never intended to finish the Vorax in one battle. This was a foothold, securing the resources to equip the entire council with human-designed weapons and drives. Ambassador Trell, Alana said, turning to me, we'll need you coordinating with council worlds. Technical specialists, manufacturing capacity, priority 1. Of course, I agreed, though curiosity lingered. But tell me, how did you convince Admiral Jackson to reveal Earth? Your planet could have remained hidden, safe behind your defenses. Her answer cut through my doubts. It wasn't difficult. The Vorax wouldn't have stopped at the Council. Eventually, they would have come for Earth. Better to fight together than die alone. Her words struck deep. For cycles, the Council had grown complacent, smug in our superiority. We had forgotten the truth that once bound us. United we stand. Divided we fall. When this is over, I said quietly, the Council will be forever changed. It must be, she replied. 3 months later, I stood within the rebuilt council chamber. The Vorax had been driven beyond the galactic rim. The war raged on in distant sectors, but here, worlds rebuilt. Fleets rearmed with human ingenuity. Alana Reeves entered with her delegation, no longer a token trio, but 20 representatives of Earth's many nations and disciplines. The new Grand Counselor, elected after the old one perished in the first wave of attacks, opened the session. First order of business, the petition for Earth's admission. I rose as head of the diplomatic review. The recommendation is unanimous, full membership, not a single dissenting voice rose. How could there be? Humanity had saved us from extinction. Then let it be recorded, the Grand Counselor declared. Earth is hereby admitted as the 144th member of the Galactic Council. Applause thundered through the chamber, a human custom now spreading across the stars. I approached Alana as the formalities concluded. Congratulations, Counselor Reeves. And to you, she smiled, as Special Envoy for Innovation and Adaptation. The title carried weight. At last, the Council recognized its fatal flaw, rigidity. Admission protocols would change. No longer would species be dismissed for failing to conform to old expectations. Diversity would be our strength. The war was not over. But the Council, reborn with humanity's fire, was no longer the fragile alliance it once had been.